Here I have a 11.70 pound ham. It's a real big piece of pork here. And look at all that fat. I'm not going to take that fat off too. I think that fat gives the ham a lot of flavor. Some people like to trim some of that fat off. I'm not going to do that. Now here are a few tools that you're going to need. This is a meat injector, and we're going to be using this towards the end to inject the juice in the pan into the ham to give the ham more flavor. So make sure you got a meat injector. And you have to screw these into this part here. So you gotta screw it in like this. Make sure you have a brush, because we're going to be brushing some of the glaze onto the ham. And there's no other way to add the glaze to the ham than to use a brush. So make sure you have a brush. This is a meat brush. And last but not least, make sure you have a thermometer. Ham is just like turkey in that it's really hard to tell when it's done. So there are certain numbers that we use to determine whether the meat is done. In the case of ham, once your thermometer reads 160, that means that your ham is completely done. And what you would do is stick the thermometer into the thickest part of the ham, let it sit there for about 5 minutes, and if it reads 160, that means that your ham is completely done all the way through to the inside out. Okay guys, so here are the seasons and the condiments that you're going to need for your ham. You're going to need some honey. You're going to need the honey to make the pineapple brown sugar honey glaze. We're going to be using some apple cider vinegar. Make sure you get apple cider vinegar, okay? Not regular white vinegar. Make sure you get apple cider vinegar. You're going to need some butter. You're going to put some butter and a pineapple brown sugar honey glaze. Obviously you're going to need some toothpicks. Okay, we're going to be using the toothpicks for the pineapples and the cherries so that it'll stick to the ham, otherwise it'll fall right off. Going to be using 2 cans of sliced pineapples. And we're going to use the juice inside these canned pineapples to make the pineapple brown sugar honey glaze. Okay, so I got 2 cans of these sliced pineapples, and we're going to be using some cherries. Okay, let me show you how these look. That's how they look on the inside. They look good too. Let me eat one of these. It's really good. I'm most likely not going to be using all these. The seasons that you're going to need are black pepper. You're going to need some brown sugar. You're going to need some ground cloves. You're going to need some ground ginger. This is the ground clove, by the way. And you're going to need some cinnamon. Okay? And you're going to need some mustard. Now, some people like to use the Dijon mustard. You can use that, but I use regular yellow mustard. Okay? Regular, classic, traditional yellow mustard. So that's all you're gonna need: the butter, the honey, the vinegar, the toothpicks, 2 cans of sliced pineapples, cherries, black pepper, brown sugar, mustard, cinnamon, ground ginger, and ground cloves. That's going to really give it that nice ham flavor. All right. Okay guys, so our ham is completely unfrozen. It has defrost. So what we're going to do is we're going to place it in the sink. And we're going to rinse this bad boy off. What we're going to do is we're going to cut like 1/4 inch deep lines into our ham. And that's going to allow the juice to sink into the ham. As you know, we are going to be injecting this ham later. Cut the ham like that with a nice sharp knife. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to coat this big piece of pork with this mustard. And I'm just going to use my hands. Coat this bad boy. Coat it down. What I'm going to use first is the ground ginger. Just coat some of that on there like that. As much as you can. Now we're going to get our ground cloves. We're going to sprinkle that on there. What you're going to do now is you're going to add your pearl ground cinnamon. Smells too good, guys. Smells too good. Now what you're going to add is you're going to add the black pepper. Black pepper. And last but not least, you're going to add the brown sugar. Okay. So you're going to kind of just press the brown sugar onto the ham like that. I just don't know how good this smells, guys. This smells so good. Ugh. Okay, so guys, as you know, we coated the ham with the mustard, the brown sugar, and the other seasons. And I allowed this to sit for about 2 hours. And look at how the brown sugar dissolved and created this nice brown sugar mustard glaze. Look at that. Look at the color that it's giving the ham. That look absolutely delicious. And that's going to give our ham lots and lots of flavor. Look at that. Okay guys, so we have our 2 cans of sliced pineapples here. And we have our bottle of red cherries. And we're going to save the juice from the bottle of cherries and the juice from the sliced pineapples, because we're going to need the pineapple juice and the cherry juice when we make our pineapple brown sugar honey glaze. Okay, so you're not going to get rid of the pineapple juice or the cherry juice. You're just going to remove the pineapples from the cans and you're going to remove the cherries from the bottle. Okay, but keep that juice. Don't get rid of that juice. We need that juice to make the glaze. Christmas ham. That's a piece of pork there. Have a lot of flavor to it. It's already creating its own juice at the bottom, see?
Look at that. Going to place this pineapple there. Place a pineapple there. Going to place a pineapple here. So, going to use the toothpicks. And I usually use about 2 for each pineapple. Press it down as far as you can. The ham is going to suck that juice up from those pineapples. It's going to suck up all that juice at the bottom of the pan. Look at that, folks. That look absolutely beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to place the cherries in the middle of the pineapple holes. And you're going to stick a toothpick through them as well. So we're going to place one there and stick a toothpick through it like that. Don't that look nice? Take another one, stick a toothpick through it like that. Okay, so let's turn this over. Matter of fact, know what I'll do? I'll stick a cherry right there without a pineapple. Okay, guys, so we're all done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this apple cider vinegar and I'm going to pour about 1/4 cup at the bottom of the pan. That's going to give the ham even more flavor. That's going to add to the tanginess of the ham, and it's going to balance out the sweetness from the honey glaze that we'll be adding to the ham later on. Okay, so add about 1/4 cup of vinegar to the bottom. The ham is going to soak up that apple cider vinegar as well. Here's what you're going to need. You're going to need your honey. You're going to need about 1 cup of brown sugar. You're going to need some butter. I don't really give measurements when it comes to this. You're going to make the glaze to your desired taste. So if you like it to have more of a honey taste, add more honey. If you like it to have more of a pineapple taste, add more pineapple juice. It really just depends. But I recommend that you use about 1 cup of brown sugar. And here we have the juice from the can of sliced pineapples and the juice from the bottle of red cherries. Okay, so what you're going to do first is you're going to get a pot and you're going to place it over low heat. Going to add about that much there. What you're going to add next is your brown sugar. Now, some people only use this as a glaze, but we're making more of a pineapple brown sugar glaze. The reason why I like to add the pineapple juice is because I don't like my glaze to be extremely sweet. Okay, the honey and the sugar is going to make it sweet enough. Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to add your honey. This honey smells so good. Stir that in. And now we're going to add our 1.5 cups of pineapple juice. And we're going to add the juice from the bottle of cherries. We're gonna stir this in. And I'm gonna take my brush and just brush the top of the ham. With the glaze. Smells really good, by the way, guys. That juice at the bottom there is definitely going to thicken up. Okay. I like the color that the cherry juice gives it. Okay, now here's my little thermometer, and what you can do with the Taylor thermometer is, I think the way this works is you place this onto the number that you want it to get to. In ham, you want it to be at 160 when it's done. Okay, so when it gets to 160 and when it's completely done, I think this will go to 160 when it's done. And you want to stick this in the thickest part of the ham. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place it like right here in the middle of this part. Like that. I got some folks here and they are ready to grub. Now what I like to do is, once the ham is done, I like to add additional honey. So I'm going to just pour some of this honey on the top, like that. Not too much. Just pour additional honey on there, like that. And I'm going to just brush that in like that. Look at that. Love that thick honey on top of the ham, that pineapple brown sugar honey glaze. Put it in like this. You want to pour it back. It's going to suck all that juice up like that. Stick it into the ham like that. And inject it to the ham. Press it down. And then I'm going to stick it in this part right here. Squirt that in slowly, because if you do it too fast, it might squirt out the top.